So in today's video, I actually want to talk about some fall bolos you guys should be searching for as we move into the fall season. Let's just jump in. The very first one is actually cashmere joggers. This one is something that I enjoy picking up because I do notice a 100% sell-through rate with them. Not so much the sweaters, but absolutely the joggers or any type of sweatpants, pull-on pants, any type of style that is for like your bottoms, of course. They do really well during this time, so I do like to source them when I come across them. The next one is actually burnout velvet. Now this one you definitely can tell from afar it has like a very distinctive look, and this one sells like hotcakes for me, and I am absolutely sourcing this as we speak. Like I have so many on my rack right now, and I am getting them listed slowly but surely. I do notice that the larger size perform better, but I've been able to sell smalls, mediums, large, extra large, just about every size. The next one is actually Moody colors. Now this one for me, Moody colors are like a mustard yellow, kind of like a olive, hunter green, burgundy, maroon, and like maybe browns, chocolate browns. Pretty much any shade of brown really would work. But like those moody colors, they do really, really, really well during this season because they kind of give off like that rustic, very dark, vibe. So I think that those are really great colors to be sourcing as we move into this season. The next one is suede. I feel like suede or faux suede does really well during this season as well, just because it kind of gives off like that boho western vibe. So that's definitely a style you should look out for. Even if it's, like I said, not like real suede leather, you definitely should pick up faux suede. I feel like with this type of fall bolo, it pairs well when it is either a good size or a good style. So don't just pick up any type of suede or faux suede. You definitely want to have really good factors stacked on it, and that'll just be like an additional thing to get that item to sell. The next one is men's cardigan. Now I learned this from Kaylee Elaine last year, and I did try to source quite a few. Unfortunately, I wasn't as good as I am now, where I was picking up like random ones and I was pricing them just a little bit too high. I do think if you make sure you can price them accordingly, use the right keywords, you'll be able to get yours to move. I know for me moving forward, I definitely will make sure I give a really good price point so I can kind of get mine out the door and make sure that it's a really good style. I know right now preppy is also like a really, really, really good like keyword to use, like, academia and Ivy League, just those type of keywords. The next one is actually like fleece robes. So like fleece lounge robes, those do really well. Of course, it's always going to depend on the brand. So if you see a fleece terry cloth robe sitting at your thrift store or your bins, go ahead and look at the brand and make sure you can get a really good price point. But I do know that I sell a lot of fleece robes during the fall and winter transition. The next one is actually house coats. Now these are really niche down to a specific type of buyer. They are the mature ladies, but they're essentially like robes, but they're like coats. So they have like a full zip. They look like a dress, or they are a dress. They just got, they're just multifaceted because it looks like a dress, but it's kind of like a coat. It's thick like a coat. It's not really, I don't know. I'm gonna pop some on the screen so you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say. But these did really well for me. Adana was a brand that popped up a lot with this particular style, but you can definitely get different types of brands, of course, different type of sizes. Larger sizes will perform better. However, all sizes do sell. I've sold smalls, mediums, large, so it just really depends on your price point. The colorway also depends on if it has like embroidery to it. Like, it's so many factors, so I wouldn't say just go pick up everything. You definitely want to narrow it down to the brand that you have, the size that you have, and the style that you have, and then of course the price point that you plan on listing it for to make sure you can get yours to sell. Flannel fabric. So this one, y'all already know, y'all felt flannel before. Like, it has a very distinctive kind of like soft brush cotton feel to it. I would specifically say like the flannel that is like green and red, those do really well during Christmas time specifically. But I do think that that flannel material in general is just like a really good thing to pick up. And of course, like I say, do your research, but definitely something you should look out for during the season. Another one is merino wool base layer. So this one one is definitely going to be, you know, great if it's a better brand, but I do find that selling like even smaller brands like Uniqlo base layers do really well as well. That sounded weird. But they do perform. Now, of course, you're not going to get the top 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂 line of like the price point. You will get about $20 for it. But if you have a business model like me, you're okay with that. But yeah, definitely merino base layers. They do really well. I would definitely plug in words like layering to them as well, because people are going skiing and they want to stay cozy. So they like to put those on and just kind of layer more clothes on top. So definitely a great, you know, fabric and a style to look for. And of course, to use that specific keyword as base layer. All right. And lastly on this list is quilted. I do find that quilted pieces do amazing during this time, especially if it's like a Cathan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Those do really well. Last year, or was it last year? I guess it would be last year, early this year. Typically the fall, well, I guess, when does the fall end? Hey Siri, when does the fall season end? Okay, in North America, December 21st. So right before Christmas. So yeah, I guess, it could be for both. But I do think people are also picking it up for fall as well. So quilted Cathan jackets, quilted like button ups, just any type of vibe of the item. If you use that word quilted, it would definitely pull in the right buyer, because that is definitely a good style that people are searching for, usually for, you know, the fall and winter season, because it kind of adds on like a padded layer of coziness, you know. If you weren't looking for these types of items, I would highly suggest you just take that extra step into putting it into your, you know, pocket full of things that you want to find out there sourcing, because I definitely do think it could pad your sales as a reseller, because like I said before, we are not able to find like a whole bunch of, you know, bolos all the time. And you want to find those pieces that are going to be for sure best to sell. And everything on this list are for sure best to sell. And I did want to add in some keywords, because y'all know at this point, I love a good keyword. Okay. I love a good keyword. I feel like all of my listings have additional keywords, because I know if that brand and that category and that size don't sell it, them keywords are going to pull in the right buyer. Okay. So I feel like these are perfect keywords to use for the fall season specifically. Granted, you can use these keywords anytime for any item. However, I do find that a lot of my items that sell in the fall and winter season have these keywords plugged into it. So let's just jump in. All right, so the very first one is academia, which really ties into just like school, scholar, and, you know, uni and all of that. This one really is good for like, you know, lighter tone browns, darker tone browns. A lot of people do like categorize it by light academia or dark academia. I personally just put academia because I don't want to lose out on the keywords where I can plug in other ones versus just putting the light or dark. I can put something else, but you can definitely do that, and it is very self-explanatory. Light academia are lighter tone browns. Dark academia is darker browns and darker greens and things like that. The next one is actually preppy. I use this word a lot during the summer season for specifically, you know, the lighter colorways, but preppy is also great for like the navy blues, and then of course like the ivory, the black. Like, it's really good for any colorway, honestly, but I do feel like it's very versatile. Now with the word preppy, it does tie into 3 different preppies. You have the Lilly Pulitzer preppy, like that type of style. Then you have the preppy where it is like tennis prep. And then you have the preppy where it's kind of like, I guess it would be my demographic, if you will, millennials, where it's like the early 2000s, that preppy where it's like Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch and American Eagle preppy. But for me specifically, I'm talking about the preppy where it is tennis prep, where we are talking about Ralph Lauren prep. So that's the preppy that I am thinking about when I say the word preppy. But anyways, the next one is cabin. This one is going to be great for any type of like sweaters that you are listing, any type of like fall season or even winter, you know, ones, because people do go to cabins with their family and they want a cabin sweater. The next one is whimsy goth. I typically use this keyword for any type of black item. It could also be burgundy. This is really for the moody colors, if you will. But I do associate it with the color black mostly. It's just a great keyword to use where it's just like a very deep, dark colorway. And the next one is grunge. This also works for men's sweaters or women's sweaters where it is, I feel like it's like a muted color. It is not vibrant. It is not colorful, but a very muted, dark browns, dark grays, like, you know, just grungy. The next one is Goblin Core. This one I was using a lot in the fall and winter, and I use it specifically for like those brown colorways, but it was a very distinctive look where it would be like a forest type of brown, not really like a academia brown, because academia could be like a cable knit, and that is absolutely going to be academia. But if it's like a oversized, like gauzy, you know, top or a sweater, then I would absolutely use like Goblin Core, Gremlin Core. So I try to make sure I use that keyword when it suits it. And the last one is Western. Of course, that one kind of ties into the suede, but Western, we are moving into the season where people are wearing jeans, denim jackets, and things like that. So Western is actually a really great keyword to use. The word has definitely been like running rampant with Cowboy Carter and Beyonce, but I do think that that is still a great keyword moving forward. I know that I've seen like other resellers talk about the word Yellowstone. I've never watched a TV show, but I'm assuming people, men probably, will go and look for like Yellowstone jacket or Yellowstone jeans or whatever. So I think that, you know, Western is definitely a really good, you know, keyword for this season. But yeah, y'all, that's all that I have in this video. Please let me know down below some things that you would consider a fall bolo that you have been able to sell year after year, because these are the ones that I have been able to sell year after year that doesn't really tie into a specific brand, but definitely just a style that I am searching out for during the season. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.